Welcome to today's edition of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, president of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce. Today's guest is our monthly update with the beautiful and lovely Summer Woodard, our city manager.
Thank you so much. You're too kind. We always appreciate the opportunity and always enjoy our partnership, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And we just wrapped up what I believe to be an extremely successful partnership event series. So not one, not two, but three really awesome events. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. And I certainly just want to thank you for your leadership, your guidance in the Place Your Bet series that we did. I think that series showcases so much. The one thing I kind of want to just zero in on is partnerships. The Place Your Bet series, it wasn't one group that pulled it off. It took the city of Reidsville, your dedication, your staff at the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce, also RCC with Jennifer Lester and Randy Hunt with a small business, Rockingham County Commissioners, and also Lee Cochran with the EDC and her team. It took all those partnerships working together, and then we had some great panelists. We had some members of our community with Eden Combs, who was on that with us with Realty One. We had Steve Scott with Tri-State Steel. We just had such a good representation, and it was possible because of partnerships, and it showcased what working together and formulating partnerships can accomplish.
I totally agree. And I think for me, when we do things together, it takes a little bit of the edge off, a little bit of the pressure, and we're able to, in some aspects, it's hard to work with others, right? Because it's like, oh, you have to put a lot of trust in that things are going to get done. But we have such an amazing long-standing partnership that we know when we say, hey, I've got that, or hey, you've got that, that it's going to work out. And I'm so thankful for that, because it's nice for us as a really small staff to be able to have that extension of people that we can rely on to pull off something. But man, what a great series of events. And so we just wrapped up our third one. Let's go back and recap. I'm going to let you take event one. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. So event one, and for our viewers, if you want to watch any of our events, Roy Sawyer, with his media outlet, has done an outstanding job, and he videotaped all of these. So our first event was back in May, and we actually housed it at the Penthouse, and it was a panel discussion, and it was a Q&A session, and you did a wonderful job being our moderator for that event. And the Q&A featured a variety of different business owners throughout the city of Reidsville. They were either business owners who looked at real estate, commercial, small business. I thought we had a great group to see, how to place your bet on Reidsville. Like, how did they learn to place their bet on Reidsville? And I think they shared some really great stories of some successes and some roadblocks that they had ran into. And I think that's some good information for us as a city, and also for other organizations to see how we can help businesses remove those roadblocks. And I think that that was very eye-opening, and I hope that that is what, at least the first event and the event in this whole series that our public sees is we want to help and not hinder growth here in Reidsville.
It's funny, the common theme in this whole series has been people who weren't from Reidsville, who've invested, who've placed their bet, who've cashed in their chips on Reidsville. And one of the panelists from that event was Lee Vogler, who is the city councilman for Danville. And he has personal ties here. His wife works at Annie Penn Hospital, and he owns a business that is a part of the chamber. But his insight coming from that side, Danville's the comeback city, and he is the youngest member of council. He was a part of the casino coming, and all these things, the Otterbots, all these different pieces of economic development that are happening. And he just looked at us and he was like, now's your time. Like, now's your chance. And we had some really great feedback. Mac Williams, who we're going to talk about in a few minutes, he has been Chamber of Commerce president in Alamance. He has been economic development professional and consultant for many years. He was the first economic development director in the county here in Rockingham County. And now he's a part of helping Reidsville find our next big economic development director, and helping you shape that plan of what that should look like. And he said, I've never seen a city and a chamber work so well together. It's just like a well-oiled machine here in Reidsville. And I just thought, how amazing for somebody who's kind of from the outside but has lived here but has just come back to say, wow, that looks different. You know, and so I thought that first event, that was kind of like an eye-opening moment. And then you just like summed it all up with this, hey, we've got this new customer service. We're doing this window. We've moved the department from upstairs to downstairs. People can access it. And hey, we've got this whole new plan because we get it, right? This 120-page document, which should be about 20 pages, it's outdated from the 80s. And so, look, you were able to just tie the pretty little bow on it at the end and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. And it was awesome, which brought us to our second event. So tell us a little bit about that.
So that was I thought that was a great segue from what we learned from our first event. Our second event was in June, and it was at Penrose Country Club, which they did an amazing job hosting us. Appreciate the partnerships involved. And our second series focused on hearing from some business owners who have chosen to have a business in Reidsville and live in Reidsville. And that was our very own, the first part of the series was our very own Steve Scott with Tri-State Steel and Eden Combs with Realty One Group. And to hear their stories of why they chose Reidsville, because of community, because of growth, and because of some of the experiences they've had with our city and the multitude of organizations and opportunities we have in Reidsville and Rockingham County, invested in them to want to open their businesses and live here. And I thought the stories that they shared, from the school system experiences to the real estate experiences, were amazing stories for anyone who's interested in why they should choose Reidsville to listen just to a couple stories. And then I thought Miss Jennifer Lester with Rockingham Community College did an outstanding job with Randy Hunt in the Small Business Center to showcase all that RCC has to offer, and the small businesses, the opportunities for growth for our residents, for young people, for people who maybe want to go back and learn a skill. There is so many resources available, and I was very thankful to hear her showcase those to those who participated. And then the third part of that was we had kind of started to take a small dive into some of the data that was available to us that we had been able to work through and look at, and to look at some of the leakage. You know, we have a lot of leakage, and when I say leakage, that is looking at businesses that we don't have or need more of. So our residents and visitors are driving outside of us to seek those services. And the services that we saw that we have leakage are businesses that include restaurants, alcohol establishments, clothing stores for men and women. It was amazing to see some of the leakage that we do have. So using that leakage to try and formulate and inform those who are interested in starting a business or expanding a business, some ideas they could venture into that would be successful here in Reidsville. So I thought that was a really good teaching everyone and encouraging everyone why they should place their bet, because Reidsville's growing. We're poised for even more growth. Our geographical location speaks volumes for the growth we're seeing and predict we're going to continue to see with the future interstate going right through on 29. You also have the 840 loop that you and I have talked about. I mean, you can be to Greensboro and PTI airport in 20-25 minutes now. But our geographical location has us poised for growth. And just some of the other amenities that we offer with community, some of the organizations that you can partner with, I think it speaks volumes for anyone who's at least interested in starting a business or expanding a business to seize those opportunities, because we want you to be part of this team and part of this momentum that we're seeing happening here in Reidsville. And, you know, also to take that a little step further, you know, some of the connections, the whole goal of our Place Your Bet, and I know we'll talk about it in just a moment, was to encourage connections between business entrepreneurs, property owners, and then financial institutions to be able to say, hey, maybe we found someone who had a great business concept, but they didn't have property, or they didn't know about financial lending, of who to approach. Or if you had someone who owned property, they may own it, but they're not interested in starting a business. They're looking for that. So I think that was so key to this whole series, which I'll let you talk about our third event, to try and forge those connections, to build us as partners with the organizations that form this, to be able to showcase all those connections and let our residents, take advantage of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the third and final piece, which I felt like we were able to execute so beautifully, what we were looking for, we did a kind of an Ante Up piece, right, where we had our vendor expo event. We had real estate agents. We had people who own land privately. We had building owners. We had financial people. We had business services with Randy Hunt and the Small Business Center and the County Economic Development Office and the Chamber and the city. And we were just able to show this is who we are, and these are what we have to offer, but it's the pieces, right? And like, I think we've discovered through all of our discussions that people still weren't connecting the dots. And so we wanted to help, and we've made no bones about it. I mean, this is economic development. Hey, this is tourism. This is us. This is Team Reidsville. And we're just putting it all out there for you on a silver platter. Like, come get it. And it's funny, it started out as we were doing this Place Your Bet. It was like a whole thing around this idea that the casino is 20 minutes in Danville from here. And there was a lot of conversation at that time. We were trying to help foster handing off the baton from NCDOT to VDOT and trying to get them all on the same page, because I mean, we want to see the interstate continue over the state line, and we want to see us working together because we want people to travel both directions on that highway, and we want to see our neighbors be successful. And we also know that with the casino, there are people who are going to have jobs that aren't going to live in Danville, and they're going to be encouraged to live and do business elsewhere. So when we started this way back in the beginning of the year, there was definitely not any conversation about North Carolina casinos. And then that's become a thing during the series, which my understanding at this point, like, it's kind of back to being dead on the table. But it kind of raised like all these other questions. And so we just kind of had to keep circling back to, it's not really about the casino. It's about the idea of, it reminds me of Route 66. It reminds me of like when you think about the Cars movie and how they revisit like Route 66 and how it changed things for people. And then just recently traveled to Vegas, one of your favorite places, this summer for the first time. And we went to, and I'm kind of off on a tangent, but I promise I'm bringing it all back home. We went to, on your recommendation, we went to the Museum of Criminal History in America. But the whole way that organized crime got started was with development. And so I got to go back through all these artifacts that the Chamber of Commerce had donated to the museum to talk about how things don't have to be in, people want to bring up all these bad points. And we were like, no, it's good economic development. And so it was kind of like a loosely based, like hey guys, the casino is a good opportunity because it's going to bring business. It's going to bring people. And we already know we have limited housing. We already have limited like inventory on commercial and residential. So how do we say, if you want to cash in, if you want to place your bet to be able to cash in, now is the time, because we are seeing it. And so on the weird side, post-pandemic, you hear families and things talking about now things have turned the other direction. Oh, groceries are so expensive and gas is so expensive and inflation and like the economics behind election years and all the things that come from behind it. But then on the flip side, like, we had the most successful golf tournament we've ever had. We had the most successful, Mount Jubilee was doing a show and doing their update. They raised over $200,000. A nonprofit in Rockingham County raised over $2,000, and Reidsville over $200,000 in their annual fundraiser. Like, the money is out there. The resources are out there. Like, it's kind of flipped around again where we're getting ready to get not one, but at least 2 more places. And with the Lucky City doing their food, that makes 3 places that you're going to be able to eat in downtown Reidsville in like no time. La Boca Loca's ribbon cutting is in October.
So
Crazy Mouth, it's coming. So this event allowed these people to connect and talk. 2 favorite stories of mine. 2 nonprofits that are involved in the chamber heavily, and they are intentional. They come out to these programs, they engage, they talk to people, they tell their stories, and they are successful for it. And that's all that we are trying to do. And so it was just so amazing to see that event come together.
It was, and I think, that just speaks volumes of just wanting to encourage everyone to be part of it. And I think one thing too we learned when we started this series was we really wanted to capitalize on that tourism, because tourism is a huge economic draw for the state of North Carolina. And you do have those families and those individuals who are going to visit Caesars Casino in Danville. And it was to figure out, with our close proximity, how do we benefit from that? And one of the things, we wanted to look at was, what can we offer? I mean, with Reidsville, we've got Lake Reidsville, we've got our all-inclusive park, we've got a Splashpad that's coming. So to be able to capitalize on that, the day trippers or those who want to come for the weekend, maybe their destination is the casino, but to offer some amenities that they may want to come out for, because we are so close in proximity. And then the same thing with Greensboro, to be able to offer some close proximities for them to come visit with our lake, with our downtown, just to provide that. I think that really challenged us from an economic development standpoint. Is, yes, economic development is industrial recruitment, it is small business recruitment, it's commercial recruitment, but we also have to be mindful of tourism and the role that tourism can play for our community by providing jobs, by providing opportunities, and providing revenue for us to be able to invest in other opportunities.
One of the biggest wins for Reidsville in recent years is my neighbor here across the street. A live music venue that is an old movie theater being repurposed into a live theater again. Just went recently to the show. I went to the Elvis show, Stephen Freeman. So good, so good. And it blows me away, the visitors and the people who come and the things that call. We have Toy Makers. Has this amazing following. I mean, it's a TV show that is filmed right here in Reidsville. We could go on and on about all the really great things, but that was really the point. I'm so looking forward to whatever we come up with next to continue this idea of just showcasing that, like, there are opportunities out here. Because the theme that came out of this for me, I really think it was all those people who weren't from Reidsville. And so now we want people who are here, like, it's time. It is your time. Like, it's time for you to step up and take advantage and see your community the way that all these other people have been seeing it.
That is very, very well stated. We have a beautiful community. We have the small town charm, but we offer so much more. And one more quick story, the Lantern Festival that we have at Lake Reidsville, I would encourage anyone to attend. I went this past year, there was probably, I think, maybe over 3,000 attendees. And the majority of people I talked to, they were visiting here because they thought that was just so cool to be able to come up to. So I would just encourage our residents, our business owners to come down to our town events, come down to our Fab Festival, and I know we'll talk about that. But we do have some really nice amenities that we do offer to showcase Reidsville. And if people would just take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Well, I do enjoy our time together, and I think that this series deserved the time. But I don't want us to run out of time of some things that we need to talk about. So let's get some updates, just kind of fast and furious, rapid fire. So let's talk about this economic development update. Where are we at with that?
Absolutely. So as many of our viewers are aware, we are on the search for a new economic development director. We have contracted with Mac Williams and his firm, Sanford Holzenhauser, out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Mac is serving as a bridge management for our team, so we do have someone serving in that capacity as an interim. So I don't want anyone to think we don't take economic development serious, because we know the value in that. But where we are is, one thing we discovered is, in anticipation of someone new coming in this position, something that the city of Reidsville did not have was an economic development strategy plan. So that is something that our mayor and council recognized the need that Mac Williams and his firm brought to our attention. Was they are working on creating a playbook for our city, for our residents, for our developers, and for whomever our new economic development director will be. So that way, when that new person steps in that role, we all are playing from the same playbook versus just trying to figure out where do we need to focus increasing water and sewer infrastructure. Where is the industrial park? Is it an expansion? Is it a new site? Where do we go? What do we do? What are we lacking to help small businesses? So our hope is for this plan to bridge all that together and be, it's not going to solve problems, but it will at least be a roadmap for us to have. So we're very excited about that piece of it. And then with the Economic Development Director search, we are advertising. That search is being handled completely through Mac and his firm. We are hoping to maybe do some interviews in the next month to 2 months, but I just really wanted to reassure our viewers that we do take this position very seriously, and we are working to find the right candidate for this position. But in the meantime, we have secured contractual services to help us with the piece of economic development.
And I think it's so important, the playbook piece, because then your whole team, whether it were to be you, or whether it were to be the economic development director, or whether it's your tourism and your marketing person, or whatever, council, anything can happen. I talk to my staff a lot about, if I get run over by a bus, this is why we do X, Y,
Exactly.
and Z. This is where somebody can find this information. So it's very important, because then you don't find yourself in a gap where you don't know what to do, or somebody doesn't know what to do, or doesn't know where to pick up the pieces. So I think that part to me was like very satisfying and gratifying to hear that you all were doing that. So I don't know that I would have thought to ask. I think I would have assumed that since that was a new position that it was all done together, but it's a great piece. And you've unearthed a lot of things that as we have at the chamber, that, you know, as time goes on and pieces get, so one of the things is the ability to grow, like you were talking about, the tourism and the parks and rec. And so talk to us a little bit about, I mean, we've had this grand opening, and we've done the all access part, but the Splashpad is the new big thing. Tell us about that.
Thank you for that. So we're so excited about that. We've got our all-inclusive park up and going, and we're really excited for our next chapter, which is our Splashpad. And our Splashpad is going to be located, if anyone is familiar with the Lower JC Park, where Turks is located, and also Farmer's Stable. We're in that nice little corner there, so we've got some shelters. So we're very, very excited about this Splashpad. We were able to do the Splashpad because of the American Rescue Funds. And we do think that'll be a fun, unique opportunity for our residents, for their families, for visitors to take advantage of, because, you know, a lot of places really, that's a huge draw, are splash pads. And I know we visited several splash pads in, actually visited the one in Eden. They were a big help to talk to us about what some of the pros and cons were. Also visited one of the splash pads in Greensboro. So we're hoping we have a conceptual idea of what people are looking for, because I just think that's something that's good entertainment. It builds off quality of life, which is, I think, what our citizens and visitors are looking for. And I think that's a unique opportunity that we can provide. And we're hoping, so the splash pad, it is on schedule to be completed. Hopefully completion will be probably December. We do not plan to open it in December unless you want to come ice skating. I don't know yet, but we will, unless something major happens. Our ultimate goal is to have it open Memorial Day 2024. And we haven't set the hours yet, but we are thinking it would be a seasonal event. It would be, or facility I should say, open maybe a Memorial Day through Labor Day. Again, just kind of playing around with those concepts. And council is looking at ways to ensure that it's a free event for everyone to come enjoy, because everyone should have the opportunity to take advantage of that.
It's amazing. So let's continue, and we're going to go rapid fire a little bit more. So I know we have the Fab Fest coming up. Talk to us about that.
So very excited about the Fab Fest. Our RDC board has done an immense amount of work. Very proud of this festival and the partnerships with the City of Reidsville and the Main Street program and the Chamber of Commerce. And I know each of you guys have some really fun events planned for that day. I know you have numerous vendors. We are bringing it back, and I hope I'm not misspeaking. If I am, just correct me. But you know, last year when we did Fab, we did have to keep it focused kind of on the lower end here of scales, and that was due to our streetscape. So this year it does include going back to utilizing as much as our street as possible to ensure a variety of activities. And I believe, is it Saturday, October 21st. So please keep that in mind. 11 to 7. And do you want to talk about the great band that you guys have secured?
Oh my gosh. So it's going to be a really great day. We've got the beer gardens with the breweries and the wineries and the chamber all happening down at Market Square, and then the Tams are going to be playing at 5 o'clock. So that is just going to be awesome. And I think last count, it was about 50 vendors. So, and that's, you know, food, arts, and brews. So going to be a really cool mix, and I think we're pretty excited about that. So and then, so all that, by then you will have up the fall decorations.
Yes, we're very excited. So with our viewers, you'll probably notice next week our town will start transitioning a little bit into some fall decor. We've got some really cool decor planned for the downtown area streetscape here. And then I've got some really cool with our team. We have come up with some really fun ideas for Market Square and Mural Park. I will give a little bit of a teaser, not to give too much away, but we are trying to get a 150-pound pumpkin so everyone can get their picture made with it to celebrate our 150th sesquicentennial event. So we've got some really cool photo opportunities planned for everyone to come out and be able to take advantage of. And then we are also securing and continuing to work on our Christmas displays. So that is in full force. We're really excited. I'll give you a little bit of a teaser. Our Christmas displays will focus on past, present, and future of Reidsville to capitalize on our 150th anniversary. So a little bit of a teaser what to look for Christmas, but we're very excited. We'll roll out fall next week, and then we will ensure that Christmas is up by December 1st for the tree lighting.
I'm almost really sad that the birthday and anniversary and celebration all tied into one is almost over. I am sad, but there's some really cool things still happening. I think we also have, let's see, we have that coming up. There's going to be the downtown trick or treat, which is on Friday, October 27th from 3 to 6, which will be all business in Reidsville are welcome. And so they have to call, and we'll get them a spot out here, and they can give away the trick or treat, their whatever they want to do. It's just always a fun event. It's turned into a kind of a tradition. We have the Business Expo coming up, which is so exciting. That I have seen blown away already at registration. So that's really going to be interesting. And so that is Thursday, October 26th at Reidsville Christian Church from 2 to 7. It's that time of year. We've got so much stuff coming. So I'll look forward to our next month's update, but I kind of wanted to make sure we covered our fall and October things. Is there anything else you want to? Because we're
just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Chamber and RCC for the leadership program that you guys are starting back. If you want to briefly talk about that, because I think that is a very cool way for our citizens and professionals to get involved, to explore our city and our county and the other municipalities.
Yeah, so it started several years ago with seed money from then Duke Power, but now Duke Energy. And we've been partnered, the 3 chambers of commerce and RCC, for a while. And so now it's a 9-month program. We just brought it back post-pandemic. Very exciting. We have a class of 17. And we just had our first meeting, and we are looking forward to the next 8 months of leadership and traveling the county and learning about all the things. And we do law enforcement and healthcare and education and government and just how the insides and outs of the community and businesses work. So very exciting program.
Well, thank you for the partners that make that happen, because it's a need for our community, and I've heard some really good stories of the first day. So just thank you and all those involved that are making that happen.
Yeah, we had a great time. So thank you for just reiterating how important it is for people to be a part of things like that. Awesome. Well, if we don't have anything else, it was a good show today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate all that you do and the staff here at the Chamber of Commerce does. You guys go above and beyond for our community and the city, and we value each of you.
Thank you. We appreciate you. All right, that's it for today's show. As always, you can find us in downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street, on all of our social media channels, and online at www.reidsvillechamber.org. That is it for today, and we'll see you real soon.